This afternoon we're talking to Anthony Fitzpatrick. So Anthony, thank you very much for coming along and being interviewed with me in this Let's Talk thing sort of thing. So I met you 12 years ago when we did Fiddler's Walk, which is hard to believe 12 years has gone past. Tell us a little bit about your experience of working on that film with...
I had a ball. I loved it because I was just, if you remember, I was just out of drama school and it was the first job that I had. And I remember I came home and I met you and we had a discussion and I think you knew straight away that I was the boy for the job, but I loved it because you had your family were there, your sons were helping you out and a couple of friends. I had my father and my brother and my sister and my auntie and my uncle. Everybody was in the movie and it was fun. It was just so much fun and it was a very family orientated shoot. So I just thought I was very comfortable. I was quite... This is okay.
Yeah, and it was a learning process because we'd made about 14 short films by that stage, and we kind of felt that we could make a longer form film, which is what the goal was. And I know I'd written the script in 2004, and things started to fall into place, which was so we could shoot it in the summer of 2005. So it's actually 13 years ago.
13.
But we enjoyed the process of bringing everybody together, and I wanted to work more with actors, but also I like the idea that they are performers. They're not puppets. There are some directors that kind of like to
that's
think,
true.
You're puppets.
And actors hate that.
Yeah. Actors
hate being like, you stand there and you do this and you do that. I personally, as an actor, I like to collaborate with whoever the director is, and I have worked with lots of directors who collaborate, you being one of them. Collaboration is everything, I think, in not only film, but in theatre as well. If you don't collaborate, collaboration makes everything. John Lennon and Paul McCartney. No need to say any more than that.
Absolutely.
That's...
And I think that what is interesting is that you're trying to find from... I obviously wrote that story and then I directed it, but you're trying to pull bits and pieces out of it. How did you approach the script?
Well, the first thing I wanted to learn it as quick as... My process would learn it first, learn all the lines, and then start playing with them in your head. That's my approach all the time, in every script. But of course then I start looking for subtext. That's the first thing I do, is go, okay, it says this, but what are they getting at? What? And then I was thinking, because it was your script, I was going, what is George getting at here? And then I thought, well, it could be this. It's always choice. So it could be this or it could be that. It just depends on the day. And you can do a different take, as you know yourself. If it's not what you want as a director, you just say, we'll do another take, but think about this. So you go, okay, you take that on board and you shoot it again. It's a bit like reading Shakespeare. Every time you read it out loud, it sounds different, or you've got a different angle on it. Every time. You can thousands and thousands of times, and it always is different. You'll say it differently, your inflections will be different. So I thought, and then because in Fiddler's Walk I was using my own accent, I wasn't trying to put on an American accent or a Belfast accent, it was just my accent. So I thought, I find that difficult. I would prefer to do an accent when I'm acting than my own voice. I hate the sound of my own accent. So I knew I had to do that for Fiddler's Walk. So I just thought, and Declan, the character, is very like me from a personal aspect. His attitude's the same as mine would be, and his humour's the same as mine would be. So a lot of me is in Declan.
I didn't realise you still had capital punishment in Ireland.
We don't.
So who killed Paddy's dad?
You're in bandit country now, love. It could be any number of organisations, both official and unofficial. We have to keep our daughters locked up around these parts, especially beauties like you.
What do you mean?
White slavery. 1 minute you're a beautiful untouched rose, the next deflowered by the hordes in some eastern province.
Oh, come on. You're kidding, right? Where's Paddy's dad?
Last I saw him, 1958. He was down at the Chippy.
You're not that old.
I know. He should be back in 15 minutes with a nice fish supper. You like some?
But then that's another rule about when you're filming or when you're acting on film, is that you have to bring some of you to that character. No matter, you see actors that play famous people or people who have died, or they're historically famous. The character's there, but there's a piece of them in it all the time. Daniel Day-Lewis is deadly for that. But there's part of him. Every actor has to bring a part of themselves. You're not trying to be a carbon copy of and you don't want it to be, you don't want to be a cliche, or a caricature. You want to find things. It's easier to find the character when you bring yourself into it.
Yeah.
Now,
obviously, as a filmmaker, to make it work, for the logistics, we're having to reshuffle the movie out of order. From an actor's perspective, how do you cope with the disjointedness, especially of the way the
it's very
filming?
difficult. It is, because in theatre, when you go out to theatre, you start at the start and you keep going till it's over, and it's all in nice and. But film, I still to this day, I think most actors are really like it's hard to get your head around. That's why a lot of actors you see in the old movies going, "What's my motivation?" They're saying to the director. That's actually a clever question, because you don't know as an actor. You've shot the end first, so you know how it's going to end up. But you're going, but where do I need to go in this scene? Because this is before that bit. It is quite. You need a director to keep you right for that. You need a director saying, "No, this is you've already done that bit that when you met the girl bit, and now this is a different thing because you're going to meet such and such." So it's very confusing sometimes.
One of the things that occurred in Fiddler's Walk was that the story starts with the main character, Aoife, getting out of bed.
Yeah.
Okay, and then there's a breakup.
Yes.
And she comes to Ireland because of the way the story goes. And at the end of the story, she meets a special person, so as we don't destroy it.
Don't ruin the ending.
But I had this idea at the end that Aoife was pregnant.
Oh.
Right? Because of that it linked.
Did you tell Sarah that?
I told Sarah and I told Pauline that on the day we shot it.
That's because that would have been in their head then.
What they said at the end of the movie, because we did it on the last day. That was the last day. I said, but I think that works. And they said, but we would have played the whole performances differently.
Yeah.
And I said, but you didn't need to.
Yeah, it's there.
Underlying. There's a subtext of
that's
which would have made it work, but they didn't like that idea,
and so the girls didn't like the idea.
They didn't like the idea because they felt that it took too much away from what their performances are.
Yeah, but I can see where they're coming from, absolutely. But I quite like that idea.
But there's a little, but it can come at the end, and all of a sudden, then the audience would kind of go, "Oh yeah, that makes sense." Well, that would make Brad
would be the father. Because her and Declan only just are starting a relationship, I suppose. If you like.
Yeah. So it could lead on to an interesting
Fiddler's Walk Part 2.
You see that? But that was something I was actually thinking we could actually do. But they didn't like that, and I didn't pursue it any further. I just grabbed this briefly. Hello. I didn't explore it and didn't push it. Because there was a disagreement, but I could see that there was because that's where conflict could have come in in the next movie.
And that's the next generation also, the same sort of problem, issues are the same. Yeah,
absolutely. Well, because if you think about it, at this point, if in the timeline, if reality had gone on, that the child prospectively would have been 12.
Yes. Now. Yes, that's true. Yeah, true.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there's some interesting things because I've just written another story called The Fiddler's Wife.
Yes.
Which actually has a 13, 14-year-old daughter that the father hasn't got to.
Yes, there's always connections.
So you could actually build. No, I've chosen different character names for that one. We have more on the way, so please subscribe to this channel. And check out the link below if you'd consider becoming a patron to help us keep making more content. Thanks for watching.